Go Chundria, Chundria, it's Chundria.
Get to know Brittany K. Jackson. She's an incredible journalist and owner of Brittany & Co., a faith-based beauty and wellness brand specializing in handcrafted creations and beauty products. My next guest is not only a friend, but she's also a female founder, and I can't wait for you to meet her. Brittany K. Jackson, welcome to the Chundria Show. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Chundria. Thank you so much for having me on your show again. It's such a pleasure, an honor to be on your show. This is amazing.
Fantastic. Well, let's dive on in, my dear. So as a longtime journalist and communications expert, tell me about your brand new business, Brittany & Co., and your inspiration for launching it.
Yes, Chundria, Brittany & Co. has been a labor of love. I launched this business in 21 days in the beginning of 2021, and I'm so excited to share it with everyone. I lead a very busy life, and so it was important for me to create moments and spaces where I could engage in self-care and understand the meaning of self-care. And I wanted to share that experience with everyone else. And so Brittany & Co. offers a wide variety of products, including luxury candles, beauty oils and creams and lotions. Soon we'll be launching something very special, so we want the people to stay tuned for that. And it's all inspired by God's love. So that is the premise of the business, to keep your faith in check, to be a reminder of God's grace, His love, and His care for us. So I'm very excited about Brittany & Co.
I'm very excited for you. I mean, the brand is absolutely phenomenal. How does this entrepreneurial experience differ from that of being a journalist?
Well, it's very different from leading a life as a journalist. As a journalist, you kind of have an idea and a structure of what it is you're going to accomplish. There's an event, you have to get ready for the event. And, much like you, we were a one-woman show. We were out there doing the editing and the videography and interviewing and writing. And so there is a culmination of things that goes into being a journalist. With being an entrepreneur, it's much different because it's a labor of love, and you want it to be the best reflection of who you are and what you intend to provide to other people. And it's all rooted in customer service. And so, it's so different. There's so many different things and layers to the business to keep up with. Myself personally, I birthed a new level of creativity inside of me, from designing the logo to the labels to the website. Every part of what you see is inspired by my creativity. So.
And I love that you're, as you dabble in the arts, you're an artist, you're a creative. And so let's talk about how you created this brand. You came up with very creative names. You single-handedly created the ingredients. It's definitely a labor of love, and it's a true testament to your work ethic. If you were able to get this brand up and running in 21 short days. Tell me about that experience of the creativity that went into the brand.
Yes, Chundria. Well, let me tell you, this labor of love did not go without, sweat, many sleepless nights, many nights just up researching and listening to hear the voice of the Lord and see what would be best in terms of establishing the name. So we have a candle, for example, called Praise Break. And I wanted it to remind people of that moment where you're just so thankful for everything that God has done in your life. And you need to get one of them, shouts on, one of them praises on. And so I say we, as me, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, because that's how I felt in creating this brand. I felt like it was me and the Lord creating it together. And it was just such a beautiful experience. And what I would do would be to just play some soft worship music in the background and get to it, and whatever, once I found the right look, the right feel, and said, it's this feeling of peace inside of me that said, this is the direction we want to go in. And so that's what I thought about when creating the names, the logos, the brand, everything.
I mean, the work speaks for itself. Now you have this dynamic wow factor when people open up your packages. You know, tell me about the feedback that you've gotten thus far. You know, the time, the craftsmanship, the experience that it is, even the smell of your products, the names of your products, the labels, the look and feel of everything. Tell me about the feedback you've gotten so far.
You know, Chundria, the feedback has been amazing. And one of the things that my accountability partner, which is Chundria, told me was to focus on the experience. What will it be like when someone opens up the package? And guess what? That is all people talk about now. So when you open up a Brittany & Co. package or candle, you're going to immediately smell the scent of the candle before you even open the box. And when you open it, it's an explosion of a beautiful fragrance, a beautiful aroma that you get when you're opening that package. And so that is what I wanted to focus on, the quality of it, the fragrance of it. I wanted it to remind you of a heavenly fragrance. And so that's what you get. You know, everything is also customized. So I'm adding my labeling and packaging and name, Brittany & Co., to every aspect of the products that you get. Another cool thing, beauty for ashes, for example, it's a biblical play on words. So you don't want to be ashy, right? And the Lord also says that he'll give you beauty for ashes. So for your pain, for your hurt, he'll give you beauty and triumph over your trials. So those are the type of things that, you know, make the experience a beautiful one when you're unpackaging Brittany & Co.
It's really beautiful to see how important your faith is to you and how you've integrated that into your business. You know, speak on that and, you know, and how it feels to create a brand that uplifts as well.
Yes, you know, my faith is very important to me. It is what guides me. It is what keeps me grounded. You know, we all have those moments where we fall short of the glory, when we are very less than perfect. And I wanted people to be inspired to know that, you know, no matter what your past says about you, it doesn't define who you are today and where you can go. And that is important to me. One thing I always say is that you have the right to be redeemed. So no matter any of the trials or things that you've been through, you have the opportunity through a relationship with Christ to be created new. And the word says, you know, old things have passed away. Behold, you are created anew. And so that is what I feel like in this season, a new person, a new creation, new self-confidence in the things that he's given me to do. And so when we say yes to our purpose, when we say yes to our calling in life, it always ends up beautifully because now we're in alignment with God's will.
I mean, I'm so proud of your entrepreneurial journey, but I mean, I think it's also really splendid that you've created something that can inspire and empower people, because especially at a time like this in the world where there's so much devastation, there's so much loss, there's so much hardship, you know, and that you've created a line of products that will continue to inspire people. So congratulations to you. Now let's talk about your products. What have been your top sellers and what are your personal favorites?
Wow. So the sales have been amazing. My top sellers have definitely been like right out the gate, Saving Grace. So that's our sea salt and orchard brand. And then I came to a point where all of the candles were pretty much sold out and I had to start over again. So now we're in our second batch. Praise Break came through, you know, toward the end and made a kill. And we sold out of that. So there's so many fragrances that are amazing, but I do have a personal favorite. I have a few personal favorites. I love all of them, but I'll talk about Love Story right here. I have it handy dandy. Love Story Magnolia Paradisi. And this fragrance I love because it was the most complex to create. It was actually the last candle I created in the Gold Rose candle collection for Brittany & Co. And so you have very complex notes of a grapefruit. You have a little bit of the orange. You have rose incorporated into it. And so there's this like deep sense of love that you get when you smell Love Story. I had a family member who was, you know, lighting it in their candle warmer and burner in their room, and it lit up the entire space. It smells so good. So this would have to be one of my personal favorites, A Love Story. And it's rooted in the scripture. We love him because he first loved us. So we want to create and understand that first love story of all time, the best love story of all time.
You are definitely teaching through your products. And I think that is absolutely Get to know Dr. Delene Musielak. She's a board-certified physician, host of the Dr. Mom Show podcast, and an amazing wife and mother to triplets. Dr. D, aka Dr. Delene Musielak, Dr. D, mom of three. It is a pleasure to invite you to the Chundria Show. How are you today?
Good. Thank you. I'm so excited and honored to be here.
My pleasure. Well, let's dive on in and talk about you, my dear. Who or what inspired your career in medicine?
Well, I think my grandma is who I'm going to give credit to. My family have no physician. I'm the first doctor in the family, so proud of that, and hopefully I'll start a little line of something. But my grandma, she had diabetes, blood pressure, and when she lived with us, I always just enjoyed taking care of her, and I always knew I wanted to do something where I helped people, and I just had so much fun taking care of her. And I remember running up and down the steps doing everything for her when I was younger. So definitely my grandma.
Oh, that is a beautiful story. And then how did you pick your specialty? Was it a special affinity for your specialty?
Well, I'm glutton for punishment. I am dual boarded in internal medicine and pediatrics. So I studied two specialties and then boarded in both. I knew I wanted to do pediatrics because I've always just loved kids. There's just something about their innocence and being the one to help. But then when I did my rotations, I also fell in love with the geriatric or the older population. So obviously I wouldn't get that if I did pediatrics. And when I finished up medical school, I found out there was this special combined program that you could do, and you would be able to specialize in both internal medicine and pediatrics and be able to take care of everybody essentially. So even though the training was a little longer, a little bit more rigorous, I think it was worth it because now I get to take care of everybody.
Wow, and I love that story because it's like you knew that it would be a challenge, but the mission was more important than the challenge. And I think that's
exactly.
It's beautiful. So tell me about your Dr. Mom podcast and what listeners can expect from the amazing Dr. D, mom of three, every time they listen.
Well, the Dr. Mom Show is all about being educated about medicine. So as you know, currently there's so much information out there on websites, Google, social media. And unfortunately, I feel there's been this mistrust in the medical world. And, ultimately we do take an oath not to harm people. And I know not everybody is good. I mean, that's just a blanket statement. We know that. But in general, doctors, we're here to help you. And I feel for the show, I started because one, as a mother, I wanted to share my experience with my triplets, but then I also wanted to share my expertise as a physician. And I really use it, one, to educate people so they can have a better understanding of different disease processes, so they can have a better conversation with their doctor or their child's doctor. Because I know sometimes as physicians, we're guilty of kind of giving results and saying things, and patients just kind of nod, and they may not necessarily understand what we're saying or what diagnosis they're getting. But I feel when people really understand what's going on, they're more likely to be compliant and to say, okay, this is the reason why they want me to take this medicine, or they want me to lose weight, or they want me to see a specialist. So I feel patients become more agreeable to their care. And the second reason is really to empower, especially moms out there and women, by reminding you that you are awesome, that you are a superhero, and having guests on there who can share their expertise and their empowering stories.
I think that's phenomenal. And I love that your mission is to simplify the medical process or the understanding for patients, because it can become overwhelming sometimes if you're the doctor and then you're at home Googling, or you're on
that's right.
And, you're trying to figure out, and, the expectation is that your physician will be the one to kind of break things down. We didn't go to medical school, so we don't know what you know. So I love that your podcast has that mission. And it's working out amazingly well. I'm super excited about that. What do you hope people will gain aside from, because I know, you have your sights set on building the show out. What do you hope for the podcast in the future?
I really just hope for it to continue to grow. And my goal is to ultimately be the female version of Dr. Oz, bigger and better. That's right. I really find it empowering, one, to be a female physician and also to be a South American physician, because we are underrepresented. So I feel it's so important to get out there and to encourage like my children, other people's children, that hey, like, even though I'm a physician, you only don't have to get stuck in that box of being a doctor and working in a hospital or a clinic. You can go out and utilize your expertise in something else. And the other way I just would love it to grow is I would love to have a nonprofit organization to help, get income in order to help battered women. And then I also really want to do more medical missionary services. So, and that's not free. Ultimately, stuff like that is not free. The service is free, but you need funds in order to give that care and provide medicines to areas that don't have access to medication and medical care. So ultimately, that's where I would love for it to go.
I love how selfless you are. I mean, you have such a beautiful spirit when it comes to helping others. And so, to know that those are your goals, aside from being a physician, I think is really admirable. Now, you're a medical doctor, you're a wife, you're a mother of 3, but you're a woman first. How important is it for women to practice self-care, in your opinion? That's right. How important is it for women to practice self-care, in your opinion?
It is of the utmost importance. I have a book that I'm currently working on that I'm calling it Dr. Mom's Mommy Guide, but that's not the official title. And my first chapter is all about putting our oxygen mask on first. If you've ever ridden a plane, you know that the instructions they give you is essentially save yourself or you can save somebody else. Because if you aren't saving yourself or taking care of yourself, you can't take care of your child or the passenger who's sitting next to you. And the same thing applies for us as women. We are so amazing at putting ourselves on the back burner. We're awesome at that. We're like Emmy Award winners at that. And we always leave our health, our self-care on the side. And it's usually until we're super sick and literally can't get out of bed that you're like, hey, I probably need some help. But it is so important. I call it me time. And there's 2 ways in my book, I talk about the 2 ways that I really encourage women to take me time. Either if you do it daily, taking 30 minutes, like 15 to 30 minutes, and you just do your thing, whatever it is, sitting outside, reading a book, listening to music, watching a show that you enjoy, doing your nails, whatever it is. Or you can do what I call bank that time, and then take 1 day of the week and like go out by yourself, go shopping, get yourself, whether it's something little, you can go to the dollar store. I love the dollar store. You can go to the dollar store if, financially you can't just go out and buy something big. But just taking that time, getting a massage, again, taking a longer walk, just something that is relaxing and takes you away from all our responsibilities. Because as we know, women, we carry ourselves, we carry our spouses, we carry our husbands, we carry our family, our family's family, we're carrying the world essentially. So it's so important, because if we're not well, just think about it. Who's going to do and take care of everything that you're doing if you're not well and something happens to you?
Absolutely. You want to take care of your family. But like you said, put your oxygen mask on first.
That's right.
Save yourself first. Now, over time, how does burnout, stress, and anxiety affect the body physiologically? Because we think we can carry stress well, We think like, I'm stressed, but I got it. But we don't know sometimes what's going on internally. So we'd love to.
For sure. There's so many hormonal changes. And hormones ain't no girl's best friend. You know what I'm saying? Some diamonds are, but not hormones. So let me tell you something. When stress is kicking in and we're burnt out, or our hormones completely increase, and the biggest one is cortisol. And everybody knows cortisol is bad because that just goes with like more adipose tissue or fat tissue. That increases our mental anxiety, it increases the risk of depression. So we end up metabolizing slower, so we gain weight, We don't process things as well. You can lose sleep. A lot of times you think you're getting enough sleep, but ladies out there, you ever laid your head down and you're still going through everything you did today, check everything off, the things you missed, what you're going to do tomorrow, what you need to do for your husband, what you need to do for your kids. But that's just a woman's mind. And I'm not saying you can't do that. You can. It's just you need to recognize that physically it can affect you. And the biggest way are those hormones. So it affects our weight. And the other thing, it affects our mood. So if you ever notice when you're stressed and burnt out, usually you get very irritable and moody. So those are two really, really big ways that burnout and stress can affect us.
Have to be mindful of that, you know. Have to definitely get to know Nikki R. Miller. She's an amazing writer, actress, and author of the novel, Change of Heart, Never Say Never. Okay, Nikki Miller, welcome to the Chundria Show. How are you today?
I am great on this beautiful Saturday. Glad it's Saturday finally. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Okay, so you're an award-winning writer, actress, singer, and author right there in the ATL, Atlanta, Georgia. What or who inspired your interest in the performing arts?
Yes, so I have not lived in Atlanta all my life. I am a Florida girl, Floridian from Tampa. So what inspired me to actually be in the entertainment field was growing up being in stage plays, being in choruses, and through my high school years, in my high school year, I attended John Casablanca Modeling Talent School, and that was in Tampa, Florida. And I think that's what kind of put the spark in me. I've always found myself wanting to be on stage. I was a cheerleader. I was a captain of majorettes and the cheerleader and choreographed dances. So I always felt that the stage was for me. And like I say, I think that school kind of put that spark in me and wanted to be and pursue the entertainment industry.
Oh, that's amazing. So,
Yeah.
so you were heavily into the performing arts. That you're also a film entrepreneur. So tell me about NRM Faith-Based Films, LLC, and the types of projects that you enjoy creating.
Yeah, NRM Faith-Based Films, that was actually, I would say, established in 2015, right after I finished writing my debut screenplay, which I'm getting ready to film in July, probably for my birthday. I'm getting ready to film that. So, and that is the script that I wrote is what won the award. It won People's Choice Award already for a Kingdomwood Film Festival that I did in 2018. It won that. So from there, that's where I birthed NRM Faith-Based Films from there. So I do have other plans to do like a faith-based comedy, faith-based animation, but this particular film is going to put me on the map per se. This is my debut film. So I'm ready for that and so ready for the world to see what this script is about since it won that People's Choice Award. So
I'm so excited about how multifaceted you are.
Hey, it comes from God. I tell you, this has been a first for me. It's kind of like was dropped in my lap. In addition to being the actress and the singer, this was dropped in my lap. But I'm glad God did that. I'm glad He did, and I've learned so much of the entertainment industry on both ends. So I am excited for the world to see this film.
I'm excited too. Now, you also have a new book called Change of Heart, Never Say Never, and it has a very special message. Who did you have in mind when you wrote that book?
So when I wrote that book, and I'm going to jump back just a little bit, I wrote the screenplay, and the screenplay that I'm talking of is the same title, Change of Heart, Never Say Never. I wrote the screenplay first and then turned it into a novel. So when I wrote that story, I had in mind of people that are just walking around with a bitter heart, walking around angry because of trauma or something that happened to them in their childhood. Most of the trauma that people go through that are dealing with today, like depression and suicidal, a lot of that stuff happened or they were traumatized in their childhood, you know, or in their teenage years or young adult. So when I wrote this, I had that in mind, whether the trauma was being molested, whether the trauma was being abused, parents divorced, parents are in jail. It doesn't matter. There's still a lot of people that are walking around with that hurt that has not been addressed like it should be. And those are the people that I had in mind when I wrote this story.
And I'm sure you've gotten excellent feedback from your readers thus far. What have been some of the things that you've heard so far?
I have. Actually, from some of the ratings or some of the feedback that I had was that it's genuine, it's relatable. And that's what I love. It's relatable to what's going on and in the times now. I've also had men and women to actually come up and tell me that they were molested. They've shared their stories with me. I've had a great feedback from a lot of people about it. So I like it that they said that it was entertaining, both serious, had lessons, had a bunch of lessons in it. And I think that's the purpose of it, to have a bunch of lessons, you know, not just to be entertaining, but have a true message to the story. So also, and I'll just lay that out now, God gave me those reasons why he gave me this story. Those reasons were to show people about what unforgiveness can do to you and how the enemy can use that against you. Also, the importance of parenting, the importance of fatherhood, and then of course bring awareness of child sexual abuse. So yeah.
So you have such an affinity for, you know, helping people grow through your initiatives, through your films, through your writing, you know, which seems like the perfect setup for your nonprofit organization.
Yes.
The Healing Hearts Foundation. Tell me about that and how that's going, what's in store, and how you're going to continue to help people.
Yeah, I am excited about my 501c3. We're still organizing it, so I haven't officially started mentoring, but it is going to, and I hope to launch it in 2022, but it is going to mentor girls that has been sexually abused. It will also, you know, nurture them and just kind of teach them that they're not victims. They're victorious. Like my shirt says, walking in victory. They're victorious and they don't have to live that way. Also, just to know that they are loved. They're not walking through this alone, and teach them how you can get through it if you forgive, if you learn how to release, and learn that, you know, forgiving is not for the person that hurt you, but it's for your own sanity, your own peace of mind. So I'm excited about it, about the girls. They will be recommended either by like a teacher or a pastor or a parent. And so I haven't officially started it, but I am right now, I mentor girls from ages like 8 to 20, girls that are in my church. And it's right now, it's just general mentorship right now. So I am excited about helping these girls to get through that pain and that hurt.
What a beautiful spirit you have.